Hello students, coming to the next video, which will be again a short video for 10 to 12 minutes on sheet metal cutting. Already I have talked about sheet metal cutting in my earlier video of sheet metal forming as well as sheet metal operations. Sheet metal plate products are generally used. Sheet metal products are generally used. Already I have talked about this one, but still we will have a quick look at this particular thing that in various automobile and trucks, whatever the bonnet part you are observing, whatever the two-wheelers mud guards you are observing, that are nothing but the sheet metal components, airplane components, the various big sized, you can say, uh, parts which are of sheet metal parts along the whole side of the plane, railway cars, that is railway wagons and locomotives, farm and construction equipment, as well as small and large appliances, office furnitures, computers and office equipment, whatever the back panel of the computer, if you observe it, it is totally having all these operations, that is of sheet metal cutting as well as sheet metal forming operations. You can observe that one. Advantages of sheet metal parts, that is nothing but having the high strength, good dimensional accuracy, good surface finish, relatively low cost, and economical as well as mass production for large quantities. Here one very important thing is that sheet metal barking, that may be sheet metal cutting or sheet metal forming, the thickness of the sheet metal is varying from 0.4 millimeter to 6 millimeter. This is the variation of sheet metal thickness. The thickness of the plate may be greater than 6 millimeter in very rare cases, as far as, because whenever the thickness of this particular plate goes on increasing, it becomes a difficult one to convert into its required shape and size. And most of the operations are usually cold working, that means they are performed at room temperature. Sheet metal terminology, that already I have discussed in case of our sheet metal forming operations. Punch and die, these are the two important things, which are nothing but the tools or tooling which is important for performing cutting, bending and drawing operations. The press or the machine which is used for this one is known as stamping press, which perform various sheet metal cutting operations. In case of it is also known as hydraulic press if it is run with the help of hydraulic mechanism. And sheet metal products are known as stampings, or sheet metal products are also known as press products. Okay. Basic types of sheet metal operations that already have discussed in my earlier one, sheet metal forming operations, that is cutting operations as well as forming. This bending and drawing, these are the forming operations which already we have studied in our earlier video. In the cutting, you can have the shearing to separate the large sheets, blanking, that is to cut the perimeters of the sheet metal, and punching to make the holes in the sheet metal. Basically, we are learning these three operations here in this video. So sheet metal cutting, this is nothing but the part of die which is having certain kind of edge structures, and the point which is having the edge structures, and there is gap between this die and punch, so that whatever the workpiece material, which is nothing but the sheet metal blank having certain kind of thickness T, and with the help of a particular force as per the requirement of this material properties, as well as what kind of final product we are having, with the help of this C will be dependent, and which how the material can be cut into the required shape and size. So this is the sheet metal cutting operation, basic principle which you are going to observe here. The same kind of thing is available here, and this is the fracture which we are observing, that the finally burr can be available at observed at the lower bottom part. This is the fractured zone, because in the earlier part the less force will be available one, which will deteriorate this particular part much more as compared to the earlier part, and therefore we are having certain kind of rough surface as well as certain kind of smooth surface which is available here, as far as the fractured part is considered one. Shearing operation, that already have told you, no need to discuss about this one. These are the two basic operations. Try to concentrate on these operations, blanking operation and punching operation. There may be a question that a difference between the blanking and punching of sheet metal cutting operations. So sheet metal cutting, it is nothing but to separate piece from a surrounding stock. Now whenever such a kind of sheet metal is available, when it is known as stock, and if you wanted to remove the material here, okay, of such a kind of shape, that is nothing but a rectangular shape like this one, or maybe circular shape like this one, or maybe a triangular shape like this one, or maybe pentagonal shape like this one. Okay, then in that case, then in that case uh, the operation which is known as blanking operation, because we are interested in whatever is going to cut, whether it is a square, whether it is a triangle, or whether it is a whatever the required shape and size. This is our final product, and this is strip which is remaining one after moving after having this particular final product as the useful one. This is the raw material. But in case of punching operation, the same kind of thing is available. One such a kind of strip will be there, and we are going to have such a kind of strip will be there, and we are going to have the circular holes in it. But in this case, whatever the circular part which is available here, that is the raw material, and whatever the part which is available here which is with the circular holes on it is our final product. So that is the difference between blanking and punching of this sheet metal cutting operation. Okay, now clearance, that is playing a very vital role. It is the distance between the punch cutting edge and the die cutting edge. Typical values for the range is 4% to 8% of the stock thickness. The stock thickness is of 10 millimeter, and this is of 4 millimeter, and this is of 20 millimeter, and this is of 8%. That means it is of 16. You can say not 16 actually. For the 100, if it is 4, then it is 0.4 only, and it is 1.6 for the 20. So that is the difference. So if it is a too small, fracture lines pass each other, causing double burnishing, means having a rough surface here. And if it is a too large, as far as the clearance is there, then cutting edges are excessive burr results. So that is the only thing. So the proper selection of this clearance is very important one. Which clearance? I'm just again talking about this one. See here, this is the clearance which is available one, which is between this line. If suppose I'm drawing this particular line like this way, I'm drawing this line from this one like this way. So this is your clearance. Okay, this is your clearance. Try to remember this one. This is your clearance. Okay, so again coming to the next part, that is cutoff and parting. Now here we are interested in such a kind of shape as compared to the others. So that can be again possibly the punch is of this particular shape, this particular shape, and it will be continuously removed from the strip which is continuously fed to that particular machine. So that is the cutting off operation, which is nothing but just like our blanking operation. Okay, because we are interested in this particular part and not the strip. And here in this case we are interested in strip and not this particular part. Interested in part, not in strip. Interested in strip, not in part. So that is blanking, and this is punching. So same kind of thing is there. Instead of this particular shape, here the shape is available like this way, or here the shape is this will be a scrap part. This is not required one. This is the blank part which is required one. So that is the blanking operation. That is important one. And here actually this is what it is symmetrical one. Both the components are important one here, because whatever we are getting is common. So here we have reduced the material with the help of whatever the punching operation which can be done, or which can be the force which can be applied on the punch which is having such a kind of shape. Okay, so that is the things. Try to remember this one. That is the cutting and parting. These are the certain operations which are nothing but the slotting, perforating, and notching. Now for slotting or perforating operation, you can observe that your window, your various bungalow gates or apartment gates, they are having such a kind of metal sheets which are having certain kind of holes on it. That is nothing but your perforating operation. You can observe such a kind of holes in your backside of computer panel also. Okay, PC, regular PC. So that the fan is available one there, through which the hot air is coming out. So such a kind of small holes are available one there. It is perforating operation. Notching operation, that is at the edge of a metal sheet, such a kind of various different shapes, that may be rectangular, that may be triangular, that may be semicircular. Such a kind of shapes, the material will be cut with the help of such a kind of shapes. So that is nothing but the notching operation. And slotting operation means conversion of certain kind of shape at the center of any kind of sheet metal. It is just like our punching operation, but with a different shape. If it is a circular of removal of the material, it is punching, and if it is other than circular, that is rectangular, triangular, square, then it is nothing but the slotting operation. So these are the operations, certain kind of operations, that is nothing but the trimming operation, just removing this particular burr from the available from the shearing operation which is available one. Then such a kind of this part will be only removed with the help of whatever the edges which are available one here, that is the fine blanking operation. And shaving operation is performed with very small clearance to obtain accurate dimensioning cut edges that are smooth and straight. So that is important one. So try to remember, these are the operations which are important one as far as sheet metal cutting operations. This is the punching operation, this is, you can say, slotting operation. Okay, here certain kind of operation, slotting operation, this is bending operation. So these are certain operations which are available one here. This is the punching operation, bending operation, here also bending operation. Here it is lancing operation which is not available even here. These are also bending operations. So bending operation, try to remember all these things. These are the components which can be manufactured with the help of this is the sheet metal blanking operation, not banking actually, slotting operation, having a different kind of a hole rather other than circular hole. It is having a different shape. So these are the operations. Try to remember all these operations as far as sheet metal cutting is considered one. So thank you very much. In the next lecture, we'll be just learning about the metal joining processes. Thank you.